Hey everyone, it's Marco here, and if you enjoy management or tycoon games where you get to watch your business grow, but wanted to share that experience with a friend or your partner, well look no further, as in today's video, I'll be giving you a curated list of the best ones out on PC or consoles, so you don't want to miss out. Now the management genre can vary wildly, so I'm going to narrow these down to the more tycoon-like titles, so I'll save the survival games and city builders for later videos. These titles are all about that create, produce, and manage vibe for a business, farm, spaceship, whatever, that allow your friends or your loved one to join in on the action, either online or split screen. From the theme parks to dungeons, from farms to ice arenas, from dunes to galaxies, this video has it all and more. So let's get to it. So in no particular order, and coming in at number 10, we have Parkitect. Now for those of you who have played Roller Coaster Tycoon, then you're going to love this game, as it's got a few more modern twists that really make it stand out. You get to do all the cool stuff like building roller coasters, setting up your food stands, designing your park layout, and just generally making sure your guests are having a blast. And it's not just about throwing down your rides here. You've got to think about the logistics and the efficiency, like keeping your staff happy, managing various supply lines, and making sure your guests don't have to walk a million miles to find a bathroom or just get a burger. One thing I really love about Parkitect is the sheer level of detail you can put into your parks. The coaster builder is really flexible, so you can create some really wild rides here. And there are tons of themed decorations to play with, which makes your park look exactly how you want it to. Whether you're going to go for a spooky Halloween vibe or a futuristic sci-fi park, or just a classic amusement park look, the options here are pretty endless. Plus, you've got to keep an eye on what your guests are thinking. If they're gonna get too tired or hungry, you're gonna start seeing some complaints. And they might even straight up leave your park, which isn't that good for your business. So it's all about balancing those needs and keeping everyone happy. But it's on this list because it's got co-op, and it's a really good one. You can team up with your friends here to build the ultimate park together. Maybe one of you focuses on building insane roller coasters while the other handles the logistics and the guest services. Or you can divide the park into sections and each go wild with your own designs. It's a great way to bounce ideas off each other, and honestly, it's just more fun to share the chaos when a new ride breaks down or your guests start flooding the walkways. And for me, there's something just so satisfying about looking over a huge bustling theme park that you've built with your buddies. It's a fantastic way to relax and get creative with friends or your partner. And there's a ton of laughs to be had here when things go wrong, and in the best way possible. So if you're a fan of theme park games or just kind of management games in general and you want to team up with your friends, then I highly recommend checking out Parkitect today. Next up at number 9, we have PlateUp. So PlateUp is this super addictive, fast-paced cooking sim that's all about running a restaurant with your friends. Think of it as a mix of cooking and chaos with a dash of some strategic planning. You and your pals can team up to cook, serve, and manage a restaurant, all while trying to keep your customers happy and your kitchen running smoothly. The game throws you into the thick of it with a variety of cooking challenges and kitchen setups. You're going to be juggling tasks like cooking dishes, plating them up, and then serving them to your customers, all while trying to make sure that things don't fall apart. It's like a culinary version of a time management game where you've got to make sure you stay on your toes and adapt on the fly. You might start with a simple menu, but then as you progress, things are going to get more complex with new recipes, equipment, and more demanding customers. But of course, what's going to make it stand out is the co-op mode and how frantic and fun it is to work together. You and your friends will have to communicate constantly to keep things running smoothly. One person might be focused on cooking while the other handles the plating and serving. It's all about teamwork in this game, and if you can coordinate well, then you can pull off some really impressive feats, like turning your kitchen into some Michelin star restaurant here. But when things start to go wrong, and trust me, they will, it's also hilariously chaotic as you try to fix these problems on the fly. The game's design means every playthrough is a bit different, which keeps things fresh and exciting. You're always going to be adapting to new recipes and kitchen layouts, which makes each game session quite unique. Plus the sense of achievement when you manage to get through a hectic shift without completely falling apart is incredibly satisfying. Something similar will be Overcooked, which is also a ton of fun, but I think that PlateUp is really going to be a good game. If you just enjoy these kind of frantic management games with friends, it's a ton of fun. Alright, so next up we have Tape to Tape. This game is a fantastic throwback to the golden era of hockey games, mixing in some quirky, fun elements to keep things lively. Imagine if you took the classic arcade-style hockey games from the 90s, like NHL 94 or even NHL 98, and gave them a fresh spin with a bit of offbeat charm and modern polish. That's Tape to Tape in a nutshell. And yes, it's a roguelike, but don't let that put you off, as you're still going to be managing a team of hockey players and guiding them through a series of wild, fast-paced matches. The gameplay is designed to be super accessible and entertaining, with a focus on quick action and over-the-top fun rather than hyper-realistic simulation. You'll find yourself pulling off some flashy moves, dealing with wacky power-ups, and facing off against rival teams in all sorts of zany scenarios. The real gem, of course, though, is that it's got co-op mode, and playing with friends just adds an extra layer of excitement and chaos to the game. The game's mechanics make it easy to pick up and play, but coordinating with your friends and pulling off some well-timed plays is where the real fun comes in. The combination of teamwork and friendly competition can lead to some pretty hilarious moments, especially when you're trying to outmaneuver the opposing team or deal with unexpected in-game events. Overall, Tape to Tape offers a fantastic blend of nostalgia and novelty. It's a great way to relive the old-school arcade hockey vibes of yesteryear while still enjoying a game that's perfect for group play. So whether you're looking for a quick game night with friends or you want to jump into some immersive hockey game action, this game delivers some style with a good dose of humor too. So up next we have Farming Simulator 22. And yes, I'm including just this simulator as honestly I think it pulls together all the best aspects of a great sim, as it lets you get into the nitty-gritty of farm life with a great mix of realism and freedom that is honestly so addictive. Like, just ask a few of my friends that each have over 1,000 hours in the game, I kid you not. And at first I thought, damn, this looks kind of boring, but honestly give it time and you'll find yourself getting sucked into this crazy immersive farming sim. In Farming Simulator 22, you start by creating and managing your very own farm. You get to plant and harvest crops, raise animals, and manage various aspects of your farm's operation, and you do this all manually, which sounds like it takes a lot of time, but it's very lethargic and you get very much sucked into it. And yes, it can be a bit complicated for some, so I'd recommend checking out a few guides here and there. Like, I didn't even know what a John Deere tractor was. But then once you get into it and all the machinery comes together, it's really satisfying. The game has a ton of depth with realistic machinery and various farming techniques. You'll find yourself plowing fields, planting seeds, and keeping your animals happy. Plus there's a great amount of economic management involved, selling your produce, investing in new equipment, and making decisions that will impact your farm's profitability. However, playing this game with a bunch of friends or your partner is where the game truly shines. Teaming up with a friend or two lets you tackle farming tasks together, which can turn into a pretty fun and productive experience. You can split up chores like planting, harvesting, and taking care of animals if you wish, which makes managing the farm less of a solo grind and more of a collaborative effort. It's a great way to coordinate and strategize with friends, making the whole farming process way more engaging. Plus, there's something just really satisfying about working together to build up a successful farm and seeing your collective efforts pay off. And yes, I have to mention that Farming Simulator 25 is coming out in November, but if you can't wait until then and you just want to team up with your partner or a group of friends to build your own farm from the ground up, then I highly recommend checking out Farming Simulator 22. You will not be disappointed. Alright, so next up we have Dungeons 3, and if you've ever played Dungeon Keeper, then keep watching. This game is a clever blend of real-time strategy and dungeon management, where you get to play as the villain and build a sprawling underground lair. It's like if you took classic dungeon crawlers and added a dash of strategy and humor. You're not just creating traps and minions though, you'll be managing resources and planning out your dungeon's layout to make it as devious and efficient as possible. In Dungeons 3, your main goal here is to take over the world by building and expanding your dungeon, creating all sorts of nasty traps, and summoning a horde of minions to do your bidding. You'll need to keep your dungeon's economy running smoothly, manage your minions, and fend off pesky heroes who come poking around your underground fortress. The game has a great mix of strategy and humor, with opportunities to indulge your darker side as you build and conquer. The real fun kicks in though is when you add in a friend to the mix. So instead of going solo, you and your friend can team up to take on the world together. This means that you can coordinate your dungeon building efforts, plan out your strategies, and face off against those meddling heroes as a team. It's a blast figuring out how best to use each other's skills and manage the dungeon's various aspects. Plus, the game's humor and quirky style really come through even more when you're sharing your experience with someone else, leading to plenty of laughs and strategic banter. So if you've ever played Dungeon Keeper, or you're just looking for something that lets you indulge in some wicked fun while strategizing and managing a complex system, then I highly recommend checking out Dungeons 3 today. It is a ton of fun, especially with a friend. Coming up next, we have Dune Spice Wars, which is a fantastic blend of real-time strategy and 4X elements that are set in this epic universe of Frank Herbert's Dune. If you've ever dreamed of wielding the power of House Atreides, House Harkonnen, or any other faction from the Dune saga, this game gives you a chance to dive into the high-stakes struggle for control of the desert planet Arrakis. In Dune Spice Wars, you're managing a faction vying for dominance over Arrakis, the only source of the invaluable spice melange. The game combines elements of resource management, tactical combat, and strategic diplomacy. You'll be setting up bases, harvesting the spice, and engaging in both political maneuvering and intense battles. Plus, you've got this desert environment, which adds an extra layer of challenge with sandworms and harsh conditions affecting your strategy. And yes, playing Dune Spice Wars with a friend is so much more fun. The co-op mode lets you add a buddy where you can team up and tackle the harsh desert together. You can combine your strengths, coordinate your strategies, and manage your resources as a team. Whether you're planning joint military offenses, negotiating with other factions, or just trying to fend off the dreaded sandworms, working together adds a whole new dimension to the game. It's all about leveraging each other's skills and making joint decisions to gain an extra edge over rivals and control the spice. Having a partner in the game also means that you can strategize more deeply, divide tasks, and share the thrill of dominating Arrakis. The dynamic between players adds a layer of fun that's hard to match when you're going solo. The back and forth banter and strategic decisions always make the experience way more engaging. So overall, if you're a fan of Dune, if you're a fan of management games, and you're a fan of the 4X strategy, then Dune Spice Wars is definitely one to look out for, especially when you're going in with that co-op mode. So up next, I had to include this one. It's Stardew Valley, and I almost didn't include it because it's so well known, but perhaps some people didn't know that it's got co-op for up to 8 players. So in case you're in the 1% of gamers who are unfamiliar with this game, Stardew Valley is probably the genre-defining title for a cozy farming management game. So where Farming Simulator is all about realism, Stardew Valley is all about taking it easy and building relationships with the people around you. You inherit your grandfather's dilapidated farm, and you'll see yourself doing all the farming related activities to help improve it, such as growing crops and raising livestock, but you'll also be cooking, mining, fishing, and of course socializing with the townsfolk of Stardew Valley. It's one of those games where there always seems like there's something to do. I remember playing it and putting hours into it as I really struggled to put it down, and the charming graphics and relaxed gameplay mean that there will be some stressful times, but it's just so rewarding once your farm starts coming together. Plus, the NPC interactions that you get in the town itself are very in-depth and are quite unique versus other similar games. And naturally, adding a friend or two can make it way more fun and enjoyable, either through online or split screen. You'll get a different style of map which allows you to place cabins for the other players. It's great because you can choose to work towards a certain goal for your farm, but you just need to be careful to not let your friend or partner blow all of your cash on something like decor or say uses all of the wood. So communication is key here. Daily chores won't always seem so boring as you'll have someone with you. Plus, you can also decide on who does what. So if one of you wants to fish while the other goes mining, it allows you to get a lot more done during the day. So if you're a fan of farming sims, or you want something relaxed and you want someone to share these cozy adventures and experiences with you, then I highly recommend checking out Stardew Valley today. Back into the space theme, we've got Cosmoteer, Starship, Parkitect, and Commander, which is a gem for anyone who loves space strategy and shipbuilding, as this game lets you dive into the vastness of space, designing and piloting your own customizable spaceship. It's got a mix of tactical combat and ship management that'll scratch that itch for interstellar adventure. In Cosmoteer, you'll get to build your ship piece by piece, from the hull to the weapons and engines too. The game gives you a ton of flexibility, so you can craft a sleek fighter or a hulking behemoth depending on your strategy. You'll be managing resources, handling repairs, and navigating space, all while dealing with threats and various challenges. And I must say, the real-time tactical battles are where the game truly shines, letting you engage in ship-to-ship combat that's both strategic and thrilling. The co-op mode in Cosmoteer is where things really get interesting though, as it's not just about taking on space pirates or exploring the cosmos alone. You and your friend can coordinate to flank enemies or split up and do easy missions quickly. Playing in co-op also means that you can tackle bigger and more complex challenges, strategizing together and enjoying the game's depth as a team. It reminded me a lot of FTL Faster Than Light, except now with multiplayer and you get PvP too. Plus, there's always something so satisfying about working together to outmaneuver opponents and make your mark in the galaxy. So if you're a fan of space strategy and shipbuilding, Cosmoteer is definitely worth checking out, especially if you want to do it with a friend or two. So coming up next, we have Spiritfarer, and this is a little bit different than the others, as it mixes cozy management with a heartfelt story. In the game, you play as Stella, a Spiritfarer who helps guide spirits into the afterlife. You'll get to build and manage your own boats, explore a stunning hand-drawn world, and help various spirits come to terms with their past before they move on. The core of Spiritfarer revolves around managing your boat as a floating home and crafting various items to make your passengers feel comfortable. You'll farm, fish, cook, and upgrade your ship while building relationships with the spirits you encounter. Each spirit has its own story and needs, and helping them find peace involves a mix of quests, crafting, and deep conversations. The game's art style is gorgeous, and its music and story are designed to pull on your heartstrings. And yeah, the game has a co-op mode, which adds this wonderful layer of depth to the experience. You can team up with a friend, and one of you will be taking the role of Stella while the other plays as Daffodil, her loyal cat. Playing together means that you can share the workload of managing the boats, explore the world, and interact with the spirits as a team. It's a great way to experience the game's story and mechanics while bonding with a friend. You can split tasks like farming or crafting, making it a more relaxed and enjoyable experience. Co-op mode makes the game's emotional and contemplative moments even richer because you're sharing them with someone else. It adds a layer of collaboration and companionship that fits perfectly with the game's themes of connection and letting go. Whether you're managing the boats or helping spirits move on, having a friend along for the ride enhances the overall experience and makes it even more memorable. So if you're looking for a game that combines heartwarming storytelling with cozy management gameplay, then I highly recommend checking out Spiritfarer today, as it's definitely worth a look. And then lastly, coming fresh off the press, it's Sins of a Solar Empire 2. This is a grand space strategy game that builds on the strengths of its predecessor while introducing new features and some improvements. So if you're into managing vast empires, engaging in epic space battles, and diving into strategic planning, this game will be right up your alley. In Sins of a Solar Empire 2, you're in charge of an interstellar empire, managing everything from resource production to military expansion. The game blends real-time strategy with 4X elements, meaning you'll be exploring, expanding, exploiting, and exterminating as you compete for dominance in a sprawling galaxy. You can build massive fleets, forge alliances, and wage wars across star systems, all while balancing your empire's economy and technology. And yes, the co-op mode in Sins really takes the experience up a notch. Playing with a friend means that you can team up to tackle the galaxy together, coordinating your strategies and sharing the workload of empire management. Whether you're planning joint military campaigns or managing resources, having a partner adds a whole new level of depth to the game. It's a blast to strategize with someone else, plan your moves, and adapt to the ever-evolving galactic situation as a team. So yes, the game is still new, but it's received great reviews, and I'm putting it here on the list as the original was incredible and the second looks like it's going to be just as good. So if you're a fan of these epic galactic warfare management games, then I highly recommend checking out Sins of a Solar Empire 2 today. It is a ton of fun. So that wraps up today's video. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like or subscribe if you haven't already. And what do you think of these games? Have you played any of them? Have you played them with a friend? Let me know in the comment section below. I really enjoy hearing your comments and I always try to reply as soon as possible. But that wraps up today's video. Thanks very much for watching. It's Marco here from Easily Distracted Games. And most of all, don't stop gaming.